I spent a week trying Tim Ferriss's low information diet. I'm currently reading The 4-Hour Workweek, in which Tim Ferriss proposes a method of intentional and selective ignorance he dubs the low information diet. So what is the low information diet? It's an essentialist way of interacting with media and information that treats information as a means to an end, not an end unto itself. It starts with a 1-week media fast and is ultimately aimed at cultivating long-term habits that shift your default stance from input to output and production rather than consumption. Ferris likens the flow of information through our lives to the flow of nutrients through our bodies. He says that just as modern man consumes both too many calories and calories of no nutritional value, information workers eat data both in excess and from the wrong sources. According to a lazy Google search, the term FOMO was coined in 2004. Compare the world then, when a cell phone looked like this, to what it takes in the modern day just to feel like you're keeping up with friends, let alone feel like you're an informed and functional citizen. Today we have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Signal, WhatsApp, and a million other applications that you need to stay on top of or else you're behind the times. To say nothing of a news cycle that's gone from being measured in hours to minutes. The constant pressure and self-imposed expectation that we constantly be kept in the loop virtually guarantees that we now get nothing of substance done. Ferris defines lifestyle design as the art and science of abandoning the traditional model of deferring our life's plans for retirement and using the currencies of time and mobility to create the lifestyle we want in the present, not someday. Timothy emphasizes that this practice and its fruits are based on massive action, i.e. output, not making sure that you are keeping on top of that little widget on your start bar every time it says breaking news. You all know Oliver Burkeman, the 4,000 Weeks guy. His central mission seems to be dispelling a mistaken notion of productivity. The idea that if we just cobble together the right life hacks and time management strategies, we can do it all, have it all, be it all. But, as Berkman points out, we're all finite creatures with finite resources, finite capacities, and finite time. If exercising control, agency, and autonomy over our lives means that we have to crank our output up to 11, then that finite capacity means we have to turn our input down just as much. Ferris suggests that most of the information we come across is time-consuming, negative, irrelevant to our goals, and outside of our influence. Hence, consuming it is not just of little value, it is an active subtractor of value. The low information diet begins with a 1-week media fast. In this period, we consume no newspapers, magazines, audiobooks, or non-music radio. No news websites whatsoever. No TV, aside from a 1-hour block of pleasure viewing in the evenings. No books, except of course for the 4-Hour Workweek and 1 hour of fiction reading before bed. Ferris says it's not productive to read 2 non-fiction titles at once, as he won't retain the information from both. And fiction reading is good for getting to sleep. And no internet browsing, unless it's absolutely necessary to complete a work task that day. Necessary does not mean nice to have, it means necessary. It's important to keep in mind that this book was written in like the mid-2000s. So non-music radio doesn't really mean anything to us in the modern day. I think there's cases where you have to transpose to 2023, and even though he doesn't mention podcasts, probably what he would have meant by non-music radio. Just think about what sources of entertainment you are consuming on a day-to-day basis that might be a waste of time, or at very least not an active adder of value, and use your common sense. We're to use the extra time gained by cutting out these activities to cultivate and invest in personal relationships, bonding, and learning the principles outlined in the 4-Hour Workweek. Yes, it takes work. You're not just going to read a book and all of a sudden have a great life. If you have an itch for the news that absolutely must be scratched, you get a 5-minute block during lunch every day, no sooner than lunch break, to go around your office and ask coworkers or friends what's going on in the world. This practice will likely soon stop as soon as you realize this information does nothing to change your course of action. After this 1-week period, we can choose to revert back to our Instagram scrolling, YouTube short watching, Reddit rage posting ways. But it behooves us to use this week to build a foundation of 3 information consumption habits we can carry forward with us in the future. First is the habit of consuming information just in time, not just in case. When you're tapping that Chrome icon on your home screen to go and look up that book you feel like you're supposed to read, ask yourself, will I definitely use this for something both immediate and important? Before consuming information of any kind, ask yourself if you need it for something specific right this moment. If not, consider giving it a pass for now. In all likelihood, you only remember the information anyway once you have a real, material, practical need for it, and will end up rereading that book if you read it beforehand prior to you ever actually needing the information. Second is to practice the art of non-finishing. If you're 2 chapters into a book and it sucks so far, toss it. If you're not digging the vibe at the Italian place you chose for date night, smack a Benji on the table and bounce. Your time and enjoyment are too valuable to waste on garbage experiences. Don't get in the habit of sticking out bad situations just because grandma conditioned you to finish your plate when you were 7. And third, develop alternative ways to get information needed for decision making. Here, we're trying to avoid the time suck of both CNN's Capitol Hill soap opera and Google's infinity pool. Let's say I want to get my personal finances in order. Instead of spending hours filtering through books of questionable quality and articles that take forever just to not get to the point, deliberating over the contradictory opinions of people who made their millions telling other people how to make their millions, I can send texts or emails to educated, experienced friends who are well informed on the topic. Ask for their perspective, how they did what they did, what habits helped them get to where they are, and what thought processes guided their decisions while they were climbing up the ladder. But I don't have to be limited to just the experiences of my immediate friend group. If you don't have any friends who have achieved what you're interested in achieving, pick one book, just one, written by someone who actually did the thing you're trying to do, not some pencil neck speculator. Read only the sections of the book that are relevant to immediate next steps. You're using this title as a resource, not as a source of just-in-case entertainment. It's a map. You're looking at the route you want to travel, not all the side routes and diners that the locals seem to be proud of for some reason. If you follow the steps above for an entire week, you're likely a happier, more productive person whose perspective has been semi-permanently transformed by the experience. If you're curious what my experience and takeaways were like when doing this media fast, drop a comment and let me know you want to see it so I know it's worth the time. Thanks for watching.